Over the past year or so, I've seen a lot more ITG streamers starting up, which is fantastic, but a lot of these streams have some issues which are relatively simple to fix. I've also learned some tips and tricks with OBS that I think could be helpful to other rhythm game streamers. I'm no expert in streaming, and my setup is a far cry from a serious streamer like Happy Feet, but hopefully some will find this video helpful anyways. If you are playing ITG on Twitch, you should stream in the Stepmania category. If you're playing Stepmania, you should play in the Stepmania category. Whether on a pad or a keyboard, you should be playing in the Stepmania category. Yes, there is an In the Groove category, and yes, you could stream under music or music and performing arts, but please don't. By streaming under a single category, it makes it easier for everyone to find each other. For those who don't know, a service called Restream exists that allows you to stream to multiple places. If you're an affiliate or partner on Twitch, you're technically not supposed to do this. But for everyone else, it's handy. Restream also has a chat widget which ties together all of your sources into a single chat. For rhythm gamers, this is helpful because on Twitch, past streams are deleted after a couple of weeks. But on YouTube, streams can be archived forever. So consider multi-streaming to YouTube to save a copy of all of your past streams. The best way I know of to take video for streams is to use a DSLR and capture video from it. But that's kind of complicated and expensive, so a lot of us, including me, rely on much cheaper webcams. Webcams in general just kind of suck, so if you're using one, you have to put some effort in so that they don't suck as much. Ideally, webcams should be placed a little further away than a normal streamer might have them. There's a ton of options for how you can place your webcams, but a simple setup that you can't go wrong with is to turn your webcam sideways and mount it up and far away so your entire body and dance pad are in frame. I highly recommend doing this over two separate webcams, one on the player's upper body and the other on the pad and lower body. I see the appeal of doing this, but it is quite jarring and it makes you look like some sort of squashed goblin with no torso. All other foot cams are great in general, and I really like the ones that are mounted directly above the pad. If you have a drop ceiling, you should consider that. As an aside, many webcams are designed to be used only a few feet away from your face. This is a problem if you plan on having your camera farther away to catch your whole room or your body. In particular, the C920 and C922 webcams have this short range of focus, which can be a problem. There is a YouTube video which describes how you can disassemble a camera and change its focus range, which allows for a further focus. I've done this to all of my C920s and it's a worthwhile mod, but warning, it may void your warranty. It's important to disable any of the automatic settings in the webcam. This is especially important if your dance game has a bunch of lights, as the bright lights and colors will cause the camera to constantly refocus or change white balance, which is very distracting. Go into the camera's settings, disable auto white balance. Drag the slider around, looking at the camera's preview for an object that is white or gray until it appears neutral. It shouldn't have tinges of blue or yellow. Next, disable low light compensation, disable autofocus and auto exposure. Change the exposure so the camera looks fluid. If you raise this too high so the camera is very bright, most cameras reduce their frame rate. You'll need to find a balance between brightness and frame rate or add some more light to your scene. Finally, put an object where you'll be standing, like on your pad, and drag the focus slider until it's sharp. I find it's helpful to make the preview window as large as possible when making this adjustment. Once you know your camera's focus value, I find it helpful to save it in my source name in parentheses. Then next time, I can just drag it there without having to find it again. Changing these webcam settings is a pain, and you may find that your webcams reset them each time you restart OBS or your computer. Some webcams, particularly the cheaper no-name ones, seem to save these settings fine. Logitech and some other name brand ones, however, don't. If you have only one Logitech camera, you can use the G-Hub software to save your settings if you manage them outside of OBS. But if you add a second Logitech camera, you're shit out of luck. Personally, I just go through and configure each of my Logitech cameras every time I start OBS. It's a pain, but I think it's worth it. One oversight I see a lot is that the OBS layout should have the main camera so that the player is facing the game. Otherwise, it appears that you're looking off into the Twitch sidebar while you play. If your body is facing left in the preview, the game should be to the left of the camera, and vice versa. A simple solution to this is to just mirror your camera the other way, but it will make the text on your t-shirt reversed. So you might want to consider just changing your layout so the camera is on the opposite side of the game. All of the sources within the scene should have the correct proportions. I know it's sometimes tricky to get things to fit, but I find it really annoying when people have cameras that are stretched to fit, making them look super wide or super thin. This goes for any logos or images on the canvas as well. Use correct proportions when scaling. If you ever want to change scenes, perhaps you have a two-player scene with a wider webcam view than the single-player one, you can create sources in a single scene. Lay out all your webcams, microphones, browser sources on this scene. This is where they live. Then, when you construct a scene you actually stream from, copy the source in as a reference. Now when you change between scenes, OBS will know which sources exist on both scenes so you don't have flickering webcams and you can use cool transitions. This also means if you ever swap out a webcam or need to change a setting in the future, you can do it in one place and it will take in all of your scenes. Work smart, not hard. For dance gamers, the sound situation is kind of tragic. The problem is, if you have a cabinet in your house, it's probably relatively loud. Capturing your voice over that sound is very difficult. It becomes easier if you lower the volume of your game, but who wants to do that? You can spend some serious money buying good directional microphones and the associated equipment to isolate your voice. And if you did a good job, you could probably put that audio over the audio capture from the game. Then you'd have a pretty nice sounding stream. From what I can tell, this is what Happy Feet is doing. But for the average person, I feel this is too difficult. If you want voice pickup, I recommend just putting your microphone as close as you can to your face and letting the music get picked up from that mic as well. The game audio will sound bad, but at least we can hear you talk, which is more important for an interactive stream in my opinion. You could try this and also layering the game audio in the stream, but you'll need to worry about syncing the audio tracks, as you'll have the direct game audio and the stuff being picked up on the background of your microphone. If they don't match perfectly, everyone will hear a muddy echo. Even if you did sync these together, you'll never get rid of the bad audio from the mic. So I don't recommend doing this unless you have a serious directional mic setup and low volume on your game. A better compromise, at least for me, is to capture both the microphone and the game audio onto separate audio tracks. The microphone audio goes to track 2, which is what I send to the stream. The game audio goes to track 1, which is what I use for recordings. When I record some gameplay locally, usually when I attempt a difficult song, the recorded video now has 2 audio tracks. YouTube and similar video sites will only take one, the first, audio track. So by default, my recorded uploads always play the in-game sound, while my streams have the mic sound. Look, I know you didn't pick the song, but I'm still blaming you a little bit for that. I like this compromise because for streaming, interaction is important, while alternatively, for recorded gameplay, quality is more important, and I usually don't have anything to say while attempting a hard song.
Oh! Fuck!
But the second audio track with the microphone is still in the recorded video, so if I ever wanted to switch audio tracks before uploading to YouTube, or if I wanted to mix both audio tracks together, I'd have that option. Well, that's all I have. If you do all of these things, you're going to have an epic dance game stream and it will make me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. If you like this video, make sure to smash that subscribe button, ring the bell, hit the gym, lawyer up, and delete your account.